Good Thursday morning, everybody. It's Paul, PB, and PB Sports Talk back with you. What a insane morning on all sorts of different levels. All the news with the NBA, all the news with Chauncey Billups, the federal investigation, totally unleashed on the public today, 2 nights after the NBA started their season. I was supposed to be on Jason Whitlock's show today. Originally was going to be at 11 a.m., got pushed to 11:30, and then canceled altogether because of the story that broke this morning about Chauncey Billups, about Terry Rozier, about Damon Jones, former NBA player and assistant coach. Apparently 30 people or so are ensnared in this investigation. The Rozier part is not new. He's been under investigation for quite some time. Apparently he was cleared at one time, and now he's not cleared any longer. So listen, I know that some of you know me from my predictions, and I'll have to pull them out and put them up. But Luke, my co-host, and I have done many segments on sports gambling, legal sports gambling, and then the temptation for illegal sports gambling. And I have been on record for at least 6 months that I believe that the WNBA is where it's rampant. That when they turn their attention there, what they're going to uncover is extraordinary. If it's happening in college, in basketball, if it's happening in pro in basketball, common sense, I think, tells you to look at the WNBA game. And I just want to go on record here and say this. This is only the top layer of the snow. It's fluffy, right? If you've ever lived in the Midwest and you ever lived in a snow state, you can get a little fluffy layer on the top. And then when you start to dig and you start to take that shovel and go deeper, it's heavy because it's more wet underneath. And it takes a lot of strength to dig it out. I think that's what we're about to see. And I don't know if that's the right analogy. But what we are about to see, I think what's happening right now is people are running for the hills. People are running for the fences as fast as they can. And they're employing thoughts in their minds and with their teams on how they're going to get themselves out of this, and who it is that they're going to tell on, also known as rat, what deals they're going to make to get themselves freed. Because make no mistake about it, the FBI is coming. Now, Stephen A. Smith is all over ESPN blaming Trump and this and that. It's whatever, dude. I mean, anything that he can do to say something anti whatever the other side, he's going to do this. And they're treating this as a moment to, again, talk stories. Now he's talking about the Super Bowl halftime show and ICE is going to be there. All right. So I'm not going to get into the political angle here. I'll save that, for others. And I know Jason's talking about that as we speak here. Let's just keep this to a sports issue. This is not new, folks. It's just more. Tim Donaghy, the referee, it's been around forever. Arizona State point shaving 30 years ago. You remember seeing the movie Blue Chips with Nick Nolte. That was a movie, but that stuff was going on in real life. Before college athletes had any kind of money, any NIL deals, trying to scrape together pennies to put to buy pizza. Listen, Chauncey Billups is apparently allegedly involved with illegal poker rings that involves the mafia and the Italian mob, which I've kind of been like a historian on and am very familiar with how that life and underbelly works and operates. And make no mistake about it, while what they do is illegal, it's very, very sophisticated and it's very, very strategic. And they target people that they think that they can turn into assets for them, also known as earners. Who can we infiltrate? What group, what person, what group, what league can we infiltrate easiest with the best opportunity for a positive outcome? And they have lists and they have boards like any boardroom does. It's a business, folks. and Terry Rozier, and it appears Malik Beasley. And if you think that that investigation is over, no way. And listen, I got to be careful what I say here, but if you think Gilbert Arenas was brought in for no reason, please. There is no reason that he was brought in. You don't get cleared the same day. Generally, if you are a subject of an investigation, or you are a target being more serious, subject or target, people are looking to sing with a microphone if they have been caught with any wrongdoing. And there are much bigger fish to fry than Gilbert Arenas. There are much bigger fish to fry than Terry Rozier or Malik Beasley. And I think it's coming, folks. I think it's coming. I think this is so widespread. I think this is so systemic and so deep that it's going to even shock people like me, even though I've been saying this for months that this was coming. Before Beasley, before Rozier, I've been around basketball for a long, long time, never at those levels. And I played the game for a long time. There is no easier sport to fix than basketball. It's very, very easy to miss a shot, but make it look like you were attempting to make it. And I was a good shooter in my time, and you understand where to put the ball. You can very easily put the ball in a certain area, short or long or too hard or too soft, without it being an air ball and intentionally missing it. Gambling has gotten so large, not just because they legalized it, but because the prop market came into play. And those of you who were on earlier when we had some issues with the sound, it looks like we're all good now. And if you can hear me and you're hearing any struggle with the sound, please hit me up on a comment here. So as a basketball player, you can throw a ball into traffic. And I posted, if you're not following on X, at PB Sports Talks, I posted up the Terry Rozier video and game in question in 2023 with the Charlotte Hornets. Clear as day. I mean, 100% clear as day. He did a very bad job of it, to be honest with you. You can tell that he is intentionally doing some things wrong. And then he's like, I can't believe I made that mistake. You know exactly what you did, and you overacted it. And it actually made it look like you were guilty of something. Now, in hindsight, is always 2020. But it's really easy to do, folks. And I don't think that there's any way to stop it. You would have to ban online gambling and the entire prop market for this to change. And that's not going to happen. They may tailor back some of it, pull back some of it, field goal attempts, field goals made, in football, over 20 yards, over 25 yards, over 50 yards, over 75 yards, the over under, and something like that is easy to do as well. There's so much money. Billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars, and everybody in that illegal, that underbelly of the, black market, will say, wants a piece of that. And who can we get to help us get a piece of that? And how can we do this to infiltrate and make money at it? And then how do we not be too greedy to where it becomes too obvious? So in Rozier's case, there was so much activity. And if this word gets out, and it's hard, right? Let's just throw out a number of $100,000, which is not a lot of money for these organizations to shuffle or put people out, on the street or on the online market, or, in Vegas, and go to different casinos and put this money. If you start to see a whole bunch of money on a prop for somebody like Terry Rozier, it triggers flags. They have algorithms. They have everything that's set up to be able to flag the casino. The casino pulls it off the board, and then they notify potential nefarious activity to the FBI. FBI looks into it. And if you don't think that their antennas are way up about what's going on, the numbers are astronomical for the companies: FanDuel, DraftKings, MGM, PointsBet, ESPN Bet. There's so many. Okay. And I remember when it was legalized in 2018, I remember having a conversation with somebody, a family member, and I think it was 2020, while COVID was going on, as DraftKings went live on the ticker and went live on the market after a blank check company, and they became legalized, and it opened up at about $9 a share or something like that. 9, 10, $11 a share. And I says, you will see $100 a share company before too long. They got all the way up to 74, 76, and then it fell back after the people who were really affecting the market by shorting, and all that was going on. And then when COVID cleared and the free money, the 1,400 went away, and they didn't have the money to play with, things scaled back. It went all the way down to $18, $20. Now it's around the 40, 42, 44, 46 market. And there's a lot more there. There's a lot more legs there to these companies because the market is massive, and the ability to do it, on this and no longer have to be in Las Vegas. And if you have a casino in your hometown, it now has a sports book. It's not difficult to do, very easy to do. And it's very difficult to regulate. Super, super hard to regulate. And everybody knows when you go on one of these sites and, they want your life history and they want to be able to connect it all. But that doesn't change the fact that people that are in the underground activity are never going to stop. And there's always people that are going to want a piece of this and want to see how they can make money and how easily they can do it. Now, I was on as we were in a meeting this morning on Jason Whitlock's show and getting ready to go live, which has been, as I mentioned, canceled. We were talking about it was brought to my attention, or the question was given to me, like these 20 million, 30, 40, 50, $60 million athletes, why would they do something? I saw Clay Travis's post earlier today, and he's like, this is just dumb. This is just dumb. Listen, a $20 million a year athlete is not $20 million. It's about 9 net, 8, 9 net. When you're talking about people who have never had money in their life of any kind, and that is a large segment of the basketball population, comes from, no means. And you give somebody $8, $9, $10 million, what in the world do you think is going to happen? So let's just use in my world. I don't have any kind of money like that. No. So don't misunderstand me. If you give me an extra $1,000 and you say, this is yours to go spend on whatever it is you want, you don't have to pay any bills with it. You're just going to live life. Go have fun. How fast can you blow through $1,000? Clothes, maybe an extra computer, maybe an extra monitor, maybe a better cell phone. You blow through $1,000 very quickly. All right, let's say it's 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. All right, now you want to get it. You want to get a different house. Maybe you want to do some renovations. Maybe you want to take that $5,000, $7,000 trip to Aruba. How fast can that go? That can go really, really fast. I want that nice watch. I want that nice piece of jewelry. I want to take that trip. I want to take my wife. I want to do something special, my husband, whatever it is. Now let's go to these athletes that make 10, 15, 20, $30 million. People say it's crazy. It's insane. Folks, it's all relative. If it's $1,000, extra that changes my life at my level, and these guys have 20 million, which is 10 or 8, how fast can these guys go through $8 million? I want a second car. I want a third car. You can call that stupid all you want. They grew up in an 800 square foot home with less means than some of us can even imagine. They don't want a 2,500 square foot house. They don't want a 5,000 square foot house. They don't want a 7,000 square foot house. They want a 10,000 square foot house, or maybe they're renting and it's $25,000 a month. And that's just for that. And then you got hangers on, and then suddenly you have the biggest group of friends that you never knew that you had that want a piece of you. And there's different people needling at you. The money can go fast. $10 million, people say, I can't spend $10 million in my life. Well, then you are living like a hermit, and you're living like you just have a special talent to live within your means. Because anybody who has never had money that then has maybe some money wants to enjoy it a little bit. And you think about those guys and the life they live and who they roll with. All right. And it becomes this comparison game, and it becomes, I want what they have and I want to be like them. For lack of a better phrase, I want to be like Mike, right? Think about that. All right, let's go back to the college athlete and the NIL era, because there's something really here, folks. So let's say you have, a Carson Beck, and I'm not accusing those guys of anything. All right. let's say it's whoever it is, $2 million, $4 million, $6 million, $8 million NIL deal. They got a free scholarship, and they are good enough to have somebody give them money to market their product or whatever the case may be. They now have that money before they ever become an NFL or a pro athlete. So you have the guy next to him that received a scholarship because they were good enough to come play for the university, but for whatever reason are not good enough to be able to earn NIL money. These are the people you hang with. You got somebody over here who's walking around with pockets full of cash, and I have no cash. Who do you think the underbelly of the world is going after? They're going after this guy over here. He didn't get none, but he wants some. But he still has the ability to affect the outcome of a game or to affect the outcome of a prop. It's so easy to do. And at the basketball level, it's really easy to do. Now you have G League players that somehow are being deemed eligible, college eligibility, and are going to decide on what colleges they want to go to. There is no end to this. And they're not going to, ban it. They're not going to ban illegal gambling. They can try all they want. It's too much money. There's too many people involved. It may curtail some prop, markets, but it isn't going away. And again, I can't say this strongly enough. This is only the beginning. The layers of this run so deep. And I think it's connected and tied into so many different networks, both in the United States and in other countries. Not just the Italian mob. I think it's many different mob organizations. Perhaps, I'm not even going to say others, but we're just going to say what the FBI has said. This, I believe, involves the Bonanno crime family and another one of them, another one of the 5 families. If you don't think that this involves other organizations, it does. If you don't think that this is in the Russian leagues and in the overseas leagues, it is. And it's all going to come out. I'm on plenty of videos, some 5-6 months ago, with Luke, my co-host, and without Luke, stating that the WNBA, when they turn their attention there, what they will find is probably the deepest root of all of this. Let's think about that. These people getting 60,000, 70,000, 80,000, not the Caitlin Clarks, the people who have the huge sponsorship deals that are not WNBA money, they're platform. They're platform dollars from sponsors, commercials, all that type of thing. That person who's making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 that feels that they're being wronged, and they've been very open about it. Pay us what you owe us, which I don't agree with, but pay us what you owe us. I think they're coming, and I think there's a lot there. Again, basketball is the easiest one to do this. Golfers, individual sports, you can shape a shot a certain kind of way. You can miss a putt a certain kind of way, but the camera's directly on you and you only, and you've established a level of play, and then you can just suddenly start missing everything without people asking questions. Within the confines of 5-on-5 or 11-on-11, there's a lot of things to hide within the organized chaos of the game. And as somebody who used to be able to control a jump shot from 4 feet, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20, 25 feet and be myself and be really good at it, I understand exactly where the ball had to go. I also understood how to miss it. And you teach people in because of the game itself how to miss a free throw, right? And a lot of these guys don't even need to know how to miss a free throw because they're not very good at it in the first place. But to alter the outcome of a free throw is not difficult to do. And you can make it look very good because it only takes an inch one way or the other to make it miss or a little bit more force or a little bit less force to make it hit short, hit long, hit right, hit left. It's obvious, folks. It's totally obvious. Stephen A. Smith on ESPN is making this all political. Whatever. Argue to your heart's content. If it's illegal, it's illegal, right? If it's something that you're not supposed to do, it's something that you're not supposed to do. Anything that involves hundreds of billions, even trillions of dollars here is what we're looking at here very soon. there's going to be scrutiny there. And I don't know how you regulate it. I don't know how you stop it. Too much money to stop, but it's too much money to allow it to go on without supervision or mediation or just oversight. There's just no way to do it. So this is shocking to some people. It's not shocking to me. While we're seeing, I don't know if I said this on the previous cast or this one. If you think there's not something there with Gilbert Arenas and some of these other guys, you're going to have guys squealing and for freedom or lesser charges. We're going to be looking at, I think we're going to be looking at, Damon Jones is a former player, not a very big money player, a former assistant coach. I think this is not only current players. I think you're going to see past players wrapped up into this, like past players as in within since 2018, since this became, the opportunity became so real to profit off of this. I mean, gambling on games in Las Vegas, money lines, over-unders, Super Bowl, specific Super Bowl props, that's been around forever. But 2018 is when we started to see it basically every game. Now in Florida, and again, I'm not sure if I repeated myself. I apologize if it was earlier when I did a different cut. I live in Florida, and Hard Rock Bet is the only app that you can use legally in Florida. You can't access FanDuel, DraftKings, MGM. Can't do it. For college football, there are no props for Hard Rock Bet. Can't do it. You want to bet on a quarterback's passing yards? It's not even available. Under, over. It's not even there. Whereas on FanDuel and DraftKings, when you're in one of the eligible states, you can do that. Why would Florida and Hard Rock Bet, which is operated by the tribes, why would that be the case? I wonder. And I've never done the research on this. If somebody knows, hit me up here. Why does Hard Rock Bet not allow prop bets on college football, but they do on pro football? They do on pro basketball. Why would that be? If there's people with an opinion and a microphone going crazy today, and people said, I always thought that this would infiltrate the college market. I didn't think it would have this much impact on the pros. No, that's all of it, folks. It's happening in high school too. Don't make any mistake about it. It's not on your app. It's not on your online betting. It's happening at the high school level, and it's been going on for decades. It's just more now. It's more. They are looking at athletes. Many people are looking at athletes as a vehicle to make money. It's no longer, I just want to be their agent. It's no longer, I just want to, be that Adidas deal or that Nike deal. There's all sorts of ways to infiltrate. Hey, what's going on? 1224. Everything sound good? 1224 on my audio. Everything looks good. They're looking at these athletes as ways to make money in every way, both legal and illegal. Good. I'm glad you can hear me. No problem. There's on this setup, it defaults to a certain microphone and a certain audio level. And when I go on to other platforms, like with Jason Whitlock, it wants to default to others, and understanding the difference between both and getting it to operate correctly is a challenge. And so 1224, I was supposed to be on with Jason Whitlock at 11 today. Then it got bumped to 11:30, and then they made a decision just to punt because the gambling story is so large. And I actually have to get up to speed on exactly what the FBI said. But there's no coincidence to Adam Silver coming out yesterday or the day before and saying, our partners, I'm paraphrasing, our partners, we've asked them to scale it back some. Yeah, okay, let's see how that works out. And it doesn't matter what type of orientation you do, what type of training, what type of videos, what type of classes, what type of people come in and speak. Is not going to make a difference, folks. Money has always been a route to get people to do things, that maybe other things in life wouldn't make somebody want to do. Money has overpowering effects on people, and that's not new. This is just another way. This is a newer way to do it. And it's a very powerful way because it's so far reaching. And there's so much activity on it because, like, I don't know the percentages, but I got to believe 9.8 out of every 10 people has a cell phone. And of that 9.8 out of every 10, that 9.8 out of 10, 100% of those have the ability to log in online. And if you have the ability to log online and you have the ability to download an app and you have the opportunity to bet something as low as what, $5, 7, 10, I'm not sure. I think Hard Rock is a $10 minimum bet. I don't know what FanDuel and those guys are, but let's just say it's 10. And everybody, literally everybody has access to that. There's no end in sight. It's too much money to shut down, but too much money to go unregulated. So we'll see. Yes, you're right. One of these days, an athlete is going to get killed because of gambling. Yes, you're right. And we know for a fact, if you follow the Henry Hill story and the Arizona State point scandaling, from whatever that is, 30 years ago, this has been around forever. Guys have gotten roughed up. To our knowledge, we don't know of anybody who, and I really follow this stuff. I've basically seen every movie made. I've read every book that's been made in this area on this topic. I don't think that there is somebody of a modern level that has been an actual known athlete that has actually been murdered. But I agree with you 100%. And they were after Tim Donaghy in a big, big way and had him up against the wall. And his opportunity to get out of it was to alter the outcomes of games as an official. And that's another thing that they're going to look at. And, and these guys go through regulatory things and they're scrutinized and there's oversight, but refs. And there's a lot of fishy things going on in the reffing world here. I never understood how one umpire can have, in baseball, as an example, how one umpire can have a different strike zone than another. I like that. This doesn't even, I don't get that. In the American League and the National League, we're going to give you the outside corner, Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine and John Smoltz. But you go to the American League, you don't have the same thing. If you don't think people have been gambling on that forever and a day before online gambling, you're crazy. The DH in one league, no DH in another league. So the American League's going to, back then, American League's going to score more runs because you have 9 actual batters. And in the national, in the American League, you had the DH. In the National League, you don't have 9 actual batters. Of course, there was a couple of pitchers that did better than the other pitchers, but that's not a real batter. But the DH, you can put maybe your best hitter in the 4 spot, and he doesn't have to play the field. Come on, man. This stuff's been around forever. It's just mainstream now. And everyone like me has a microphone. And the media cycle's 24/7, 365. Like, we're in a meeting this morning and shit's blowing up. Like, literally blowing up. I'm on with all the guys doing testing in the green room to make sure we're all ready for the show. And we're like, everyone's kind of like, can you believe what's going on? This is going to take over the media cycle. This isn't a 24-hour thing. Usually it's short. And it's going to happen, and then it's going to go away in a day or two. This isn't going to go away in a day or two because too many people are going to talk about this because it's so big. This is huge, mammoth big, and they're going to tie the politics angle into this. There's the sports angle into this. There's the legal and illegal aspect to this. This is not going away anytime soon. And as we start to figure out, people are going to follow this story every single day, all day long, to find out who these other 30 people are and how big does it go? Like, how big on the ladder in the chain of known athletes? Like Damon Jones, most people don't know who Damon Jones is. I know of him because I'm from Detroit. He played for Detroit for a few years, became an assistant coach, I believe, for the Cavs. But the average person doesn't know who Damon Jones is. The average person knows who Mr. Big Shot is, Chauncey Billups. But that's not supposedly have anything to do with the sports side. That has to do with poker, a poker ring, and maybe RICO charges. So how big does it go? Terry Rozier, the average layman person fan might not know who Terry Rozier is. When are they going to snag a big guy? Most people didn't know who Jonte Porter was. They might know Michael Porter, his brother, to a larger degree. They don't know him. These are small people. These are small cheese. This is small, low-hanging fruit that's going to get people on the higher levels. And that's why this isn't going away. Because how high does it go? Does it get into ownership? Is it back into the referees? What big names is involved in it? Because if you think that $100 million guy who's got $100 million is just, it doesn't apply to them, I think that's short-sighted. If you have 100 million, how do I get 150? If you have 150, how do I get 200? Like I said earlier, if you have $1,000 and that's a lot for you, and it is for me, how fast can you go through an extra 1,000? Pretty damn fast. How fast can you go through an extra million at that level? Pretty damn fast. Speaking of Malik Beasley, his rent, I believe, was $24,000 a month in Michigan. $24,000 a month. How fast does that go? That goes fast. And that's just for a place that, he's traveling all year long, or 8 months out of the year at least, 8-9 months of the year at least. That bill comes. It doesn't stop. Every single month, it's due on a certain day. And so is everything else. So a guy who's got a $25,000 house, what do you think the rest of his expenses are? How much you think he's got in cars? How much you think he's got in jewelry? How much in travel expenses? How much in clothing and swag and all the other stuff? All the excess that life has to offer. People don't want to give that up, especially these players. Think about a player who's winding down and those contracts are gone. Think about the guys who have come out and talked about it, the Latrell Sprewells and people like that, when they burned through money or they had a check that was coming in all the time and then that check stopped, but they still have influence on the game. Apparently, Damon Jones allegedly was giving out false information on games. It doesn't even have to be a player, folks. It could be a coach, it could be a ref, it could be a former player, it could be a former ref that has access. And that's what these groups and these underbelly and the underworld are looking for. Access. They're looking for marks and targets that can impact people, outcomes, up, down, under, over. So this story's got legs. It's got long legs. It's not stopping. And it's going to be fascinating. It's sad in a big way, but it's going to be fascinating to see where this goes, because it's going to go like this. I don't think there's any straight line to this. Where this can go, and to politicians, I think it's bigger than we possibly can put our finger on today. It runs deep. Deep. The corruption is going to be so deep and unlike anything we have ever seen, I believe, where this is going. And somebody is going to uncover it, and they'll give them protection. And who they unveil, or to use the slang, who they're going to rat out. Ooh-wee. The integrity of sports, which is already, in my view, previous to this, is already in many ways a mess and is being ruined at the youth level. And anybody who follows me, in fact, I will have a clip up here from my show yesterday, and there I had some great questions asked about my opinion of AAU. It's one of the reasons I got out of coaching, because of what's happening at the youth levels. It's epidemic, almost honestly, and I hate to use this word, a pandemic level. It's already fractured at the youth level. And that's who ends up going into the AAU, into college, into, obviously pro level. This is a serious, serious problem. The corruption is deep. The money is extraordinary. The opportunity is unlimited. I don't know how you stop it without crushing sports altogether. So in the coming days, I'm going to be doing everything I can to follow this, and I'll do, a number of other live shots, recorded shots. We'll see tomorrow if I'm on with Jason. Yes, I believe that. You see, Ohio high schoolers can get NIL deals. Listen, it's happening. And again, you can't stop it. So just quickly here from a Michigan perspective, Chris Webber was being recruited in the 4th grade. This is 25 years ago, 23 or 27, 28 years ago when that was going on. That's been around but it's now more of it. It's more widespread. And now we hear about it more because of this, because the 24/7, 365 media cycle and so many outlets. Everything's brought to the forefront. So yes, that's going on, and it's going to happen a lot more because a high school, or excuse me, and it'll happen at the grade school level too, because high schools want the guys, and then college want the high school guys, and then pros want the college guys. Where does it end? Where does it end? I don't see it. I don't see it ending. I can tell you, and you'll see it on the segment that I did yesterday, what's happening at the youth levels and at the youth hockey levels and what these people think they're going to end up making and how long they hang on to the game. And then nothing is ever there. And then they're not even prepared for the workforce because they haven't even accepted any job basically ever until they were 21, 22, 23. And I talk about how at 13 and a half, I had my first job. By 17, I was already kind of, starting to round into form in some areas. And then by 20, I was starting to get a little bit dangerous with some things, 21, 22. And I was 7, 8, 9 years ahead of what we see today. So that's just on a productive member of the working society has changed so much. And it's one of the reasons which is growing. And I don't want to get too far off base here, but it's one of the reasons why there are not people ready for the workforce. And the young people, super ultra talented at 20, 21, 22 is less than it's ever been. And I'll argue that until the cows come home because they're playing travel ball and they're traveling the world thinking they're going to be a world superstar. And that was before I'm going to get a scholarship. That was the goal. And I want to feel like I'm the lead parent in the group because my kid's the best on the team or second best or third best or fourth best. Well, now there's a whole lot more money involved and a whole lot more opportunity to target or to aspire to get. Wait, scholarshiping isn't even the number one thing anymore. It's money. It's tangible dollars. How much money can my son or daughter make our family? It used to be, how much money can our son or daughter save my family? Because I want to take advantage of scholarship opportunity. And there's some good to that, right? I'm not knocking that. There's some real good to that. And apply yourself academically. That's going to help you for the rest of your life. I don't have any objection, like nothing bad to say about that. I'm just simply saying that used to be what it is or what it was. And now what it is, that's secondary. It maybe isn't even secondary. It might even be third or fourth on the list. It's living vicariously. It's how much can my son or daughter make? It's how can it change my impact? I mean, I've seen people, and I don't think that this represents all of society, but there are parents that believe that they can stop working far before their time because they're going to train, mold, guide their athlete 24 hours, their son or daughter, who's an athlete, because I believe this is in the women's space too. And how can I best prepare them to make money? And then I'm going to get my check. It's real. I'll take a lot of heat for talking about it, but I don't give a damn because I've seen it. I've seen it as a coach, even at a smaller level. I've seen it. And I understand the thought process and the mentality. And I had one person in particular, one family in particular that sticks out. There were multiples, but there was one that was very, very, very much thinking that their son was going to be a payday. It never worked out as far as those tangible dollars worked out scholarship-wise, but those tangible assets, those tangible dollars, it never ended up working out. But they were going to spend a mint, tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands for a potential payback. And some make it and some don't. So where this stops, nobody knows, but it's going to go and go and go. And I, for one, look forward to hearing more information on this so we can get a better grip on how to speak about it, because I don't like to speak out of turn. I like to speak with facts. Obviously, I have an opinion, but I want the facts to form a more deeper opinion. But I think a lot of people out there are going to be absolutely stunned, and I think that this will affect sports forever in a brand new way. And people will look at this differently. You remember 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, it was well known that boxers, you see one on, I'm not saying him, Tommy Hearns, but it's well known that people in the ring took falls for paydays and the mafia had control. You're going to start to see the mafia has control and other underlying groups have control of groups of people, of teams, and of leagues. I really believe that. Look out for what's coming. All right, everybody, have a great rest of Thursday. I keep you posted up on X. If you're not following us on X, please do so today at PB Sports Talks with an S on the end. On YouTube, we're at about 830 subscribers. We need 1,000. Your help would be much appreciated. Please share our content on YouTube at PB Sports Talk. No S on that one. I know it's crazy. I wish I could have gotten it all the same way, but everything wasn't available at the same time when I registered them a couple of years ago. So please do follow us. Please do subscribe. A lot more to come on this in the coming days, and I'll keep you guys posted when I'm going to be up with the great guys over at Fearless and Jason Whitlock on his podcast. Everybody have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.